screenshots. Right? So here's the thing. We can kind of assume that they're going to do anything in their power to make things difficult. And because Julia is a foreign national, having a place to bail her out to has been the ongoing issue. Now, not through lack of offers, I might add. And there just seems to be issue after issue after issue. Thank you very much, Lynn. I appreciate that. It's wild. So I think we're all excited, okay, by Julia continuing to stand her ground, continuing to not break, because honestly, like, I'm not the greatest detective in the world, right? And this certainly isn't my expertise, cases like this. But you know for a fact, as soon as she's out, she's going to go and she's going to back up everything that was in the news before she went into jail. This is looking at an awful lot like a government-sanctioned paid holiday in the worst possible resort in the world. And, you know, it's crazy the way the papers have framed her every single opportunity they get. Other than when we had that sort of mind-blowing DNA statistic. Hang on a second. There we go. A mind-blowing DNA statistic. And then all of a sudden she lands in the UK, which I think we can all agree was a ridiculous decision. And then wallop, she's in jail. And she's been there for weeks and weeks and weeks. But the newspapers like to use words like crazy, Maddie stalker. Like, I'm not being funny. Influencer. What? See, this is the problem I have, right? Again, I would just like to reiterate. Put a 1 in the side chat. If your child was arrested in a foreign country, put a 1 in the side chat if you would do everything in your power to be with your child, okay? In the same country and at least showing support. Put a 2 in the side chat if you would go into hiding. Okay? Because, you know, Ron didn't really want to continue hitting a dead fish with the Julia series. Okay, I've had a lot of people ask me to do episodes, to do updates, and I've not really had anything to tell you guys. The last 2 days I've been celebrating my birthday. I was completely incapacitated yesterday after celebrating on Monday night. It's the only night I could have celebrated my birthday, so I had to take that opportunity. And you know, when I speak to Julia, which is a lot, you know, she's working on writing stories. It seems really weird. Like when she went into prison, she was doing amazing in the gym, doing all kinds of like prison somethings that get you bonuses for something. It's all to do with fitness in prison. I have no idea, right? But she was killing it, right? She was really, really killing it. And then for some reason that was taken away because she had to do a maths class, right? And then she did the maths class, and then it was continued to be kept away from her for an English class. So she's gotten into sort of writing short stories, and there was one that she'd written that she read to me. And I said, listen, you should just expand on that and just, you know, try and turn it into a little book. So that's what she's doing. And, you know, she has good days and bad days, you know. And it sucks. It sucks to hear her on her when she's low, you know. But my conversations with her, the high points way outweigh the low points. I was going through some stuff about a week ago, and I'd mentioned it to her, and she's phoning me in the morning just to make sure I'm okay because she knows I'm going through something. Do you know what I'm saying? So she's doing she's doing well. But I want to read this news report. I imagine Sean's already covered this, right? But again, I have been in the portal of birthday celebrations for the last 2 days. Woman claiming to be Madeleine McCann has pleaded not guilty to stalking the missing toddler's parents and siblings by turning up at their home. So this is, I believe, the final charge, the only charge that was remaining when I spoke to her. Thank you, Smart. Oh, look who has arrived. Look at that hair today. Holy smoke. You've been rice watering that bad boy, eh? Rice watering that bad boy, eh? Damn.
Yes, I just watched it. I just watched
man. How you doing?
it. Good. Happy birthday, honey.
Thanks.
How are you?
I'm good. Do you want to see something crazy? Right?
Yes.
This is going to
Always.
blow your mind.
Always.
Right? So Dan got me this little pendant for my birthday, right? And
Oh.
on it, okay, is the word Corbin. Okay. So listen to how this is spelled. Okay. It's not correctly spelled, but so Korbnn. So phonetically Corbin, right? Now, those are the names of all my children. Spell the word Corbin, right? And when you Google the word Corbin, the name, whether the first or surname, means raven or crow. Now, Corbin spelled Korbin, right? Slightly different spelling. But the fact that all of my kids' names, when you put their letters of the first letter of their name together, spell Corbin, and Corbin just so happens to mean raven or crow. What, mate? Oh, there she is. There, little rascal. Okay, how she even thought of this gift is beyond me. And
that's awesome.
It's bonkers, mate. It's bonkers. See,
How's your birthday been? How's your birthday been? How's your birthday been?
It's been great. So I'll be seeing my mum this week. I'll be seeing the kids and all of that. But it's the busiest nights are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, work-wise for me. And then I've got the kids on Sunday. So I had Monday and to sort of have an opportunity to have a good time. So that's what we did. And I spent yesterday recovering. Right? Look, dude, it's mind-blowing. Like it's beyond explainable, the word Corbin. For a start, who would ever think the word Corbin meant raven or crow? And then the fact that all of my kids' first initials of their names make a phonetically the word Corbin is mad. So anyway, but we're just reading through the news article that was covering Julia's not guilty plea at court, because she had 4 charges originally, Paula, and to my understanding, three of them, most people don't have enough kids to spell anything. Thank you very much for that.
I was gonna say that. I was just thinking that. I mean, I only have one, but he has 4 initials: AH, FM, AHFM.
Crazy though. Like, it's crazy. So
just let me know what's going on with that, because the last time I remember she was arrested. I remember I sent you an article, probably a video of some body language decoder and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But what happened? And then she had been denied bail or something like that. I remember that she was isolated.
Yeah. So the way it all went was we had this massive headline in the Daily Mail about them covering the fact that there was this new DNA that gave this 69% link to her having matching DNA with Jerry Mccann, which was the whole big thing. Then she decides to fly to the UK. She lands, she gets instantly arrested, and she's hit with 4 charges of stalking and harassment. 3 of them were involving phone calls or text messages or things like this. I believe 2 of the charges were with the children, the twins. So allegedly all of that's been dropped, and it's just down to this one incident where Julia had approached the McCanns outside their house. Now, you've got to understand, when we talk about harassment and stalking, right? Let's just ask, hang on a second. Define harassment and stalking in the UK. Right, we'll ask ChatGPT to just do its thing for a minute while we read through this. Julie Wandelt, also known as Julia Wandelt, was arrested as she touched down in Bristol Airport in February. This is Karen. This is Sergit behind Karen here. She traveled down from Wrocław in Poland, and she was due to meet with her friends who lives in Cardiff when she was detained. The 23-year-old appeared in Leicester Crown Court today, where she denied 4 counts of stalking. Interesting. This is why I'm saying allegedly, because I don't understand. Wandelt is accused of causing serious alarm and distress against Kate and Jerry Mccann between May. Maybe there's 4 counts in the one charge. Maybe that's what it is.
What I don't get is, like, had they still not given her the DNA test?
No. Wandelt is accused.
So basically, this could be over with a simple DNA test. That's it.
Right.
Am I reading this correctly? All they have to do is, this poor girl has been clearly through something.
Right.
And all she wants is a yes or no answer. The fact,
and you know what? We can leave the McCanns out of it. We can leave the McCanns totally out of it and just very kindly ask Julia's parents why, when they were interviewed, Paula, they were quoted as saying that they would do anything for their daughter, have given her everything growing up. But then you look at the medical record and the medications that this girl was put on from a young age right up until her teens. And every single one of these medications was, over time delivered at almost double the dose that she should have. And all the side effects are memory loss. You know what I'm saying? When you start looking, and then you had the phone call from Operation Grange after she flew to the UK, paid for it herself, met with the team handling Maddie's case, and willingly gave over her DNA, and then flew back to Poland to await on the results, to receive a phone call where they basically told her, well, we had no intention of doing it, and we've destroyed your DNA.
But that's insane. That this is the thing that, that I don't get it, because if I were, for example, Madeleine McCann's parents,
yep,
I would want to know, just, what, even if there's the smallest chance as a parent, because, or at least just to get it off our back, do it very publicly, because I don't know if I read correctly that people are really angry that the McCanns just got more money for the investigation to keep it going.
Sure. But look, one of the best, as they say in Game of Thrones, little birds, right? They're out doing their investigation. This lady has been on it since day one. They have done DNA, but won't give the results to her lawyer. This is to keep Stum strange. I don't know if you maybe spelled something wrong there, but allegedly, okay, there's been further DNAs that are apparently now not being handed over. Every element of this, Paula, is fishy. Okay, forget all about the McCanns and all about the most famous missing girl in the world. Okay, forget about that. If your son, right? Mm-hmm. If you suddenly seen in the newspapers tomorrow that your son,
knock on wood, don't right? Use somebody else's son.
No, that your son got a DNA test, got a DNA test that said Paula M is not my mum. You're getting a DNA test the next day to spite him and put it in the
paper. Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it would be different. Let's say
I'm going to say something very cruel. When Hendrik was small, I would tell him he was adopted.
It's all right. I used to tell my children when we watched Taylor Swift that was the real one.
Didn't you? I said, you know what? I remember I said to him once, and he was like 7 or something. I said, Hendrik, you know what? One day he was misbehaving. You should thank the stars I adopted you. And he's it stayed with him for years, and then and then I said, of course I gave birth to you, idiot.
Yeah. But I mean, there's playful banter, and then there's like your child's obsession with feeling like there's something going on. And it's easy to just sort of tune into the highlights of the Julia lore. But you've got to remember, she has had a traumatic upbringing, an absolutely horrendous, traumatizing upbringing. And for her to not be given a bit of relief when it comes to, even if you're her parents and you're like, oh, why do you think this? You're crazy. You just get the DNA done. You get the DNA done.
Has she had any DNA done with her parents to confirm they are her parents?
There's issues with that as well. Because no. Well, for a start, when you've moved out your parents' house and then you want some of their DNA, it can be kind of difficult to just go and grab some DNA, right? But they're refusing to do it. That's what it comes down to. They
And they
refuse.
can't be legally for, this is the thing I don't understand. That Madeline, I forget her parents. Okay, let's forget her parents. We're
Yeah.
talking about the McCanns who have spent millions. I mean, this is why a lot of parents in the United Kingdom are so angry because they've given so much money to this girl, right?
Yep.
And all the red flags that that should have been, or all the regular police investigation that should have been followed has been ignored. We know that they lied about the window, that somebody got through the window because the window, was locked down. The only fingerprints were that of the man Mccann. We know that they have changed the story many times. We know that things don't jive, and usually the parents are the because that is true. In most cases, when these things happen, the parents are the first ones, people around you that they're looked at. And yet the police in the United Kingdom forbade that from happening. And I remember, and this is the thing that I always wonder about Ron, because I follow the behavior panel show, and they did this thing. And when you follow a channel, they say to you that you have to pay attention to the 911 call, the first thing, and how they frame things, right? Because, for example, John Benet, the mother said, "Oh, there's been a kidnapping." We know, oh, like, or people who are guilty, they always frame in a way to guide the police towards something different in order to buy themselves time, right?
Yeah.
So, Madeline, this woman who believes or claims that they have abducted her 3-year-old, runs out, leaves two other children that are even younger alone. And for the people who say that, oh, it was just like being in the backyard, no, guys. I mean, yes, you could see the hotel from the pool, but if you had to walk there, you have to get out of there and do a round. It's almost like 150 yards
Yeah.
from, because it's not a direct thing that you have to go, and they couldn't even see the flat because the flat was on the lower ground. So as parents, everything they've said doesn't jive, and the UK police have protected them. They didn't even charge them with child neglect. Had it been you or had it been me, a schmuck on the street, they would have charged us with neglect.
Right. Right.
That's parental neglect.
It's
And
bonkers. But
And
Paul,
the
and
thing is,
here's
though,
the thing.
even as parents, even as Madeleine McCann, if my child was missing and there's somebody saying, I might be your child, you know what? I don't care. They have enough millions. What does the DNA cost? Not only for her, but for themselves. They can do it very publicly and say, you know what? We feel sorry for you. We're going to do the DNA for our peace of mind and for yours.
Yeah, 100%. But
That's
it's
what
not even that. I swear, I've been trying to manifest a judge in this case that's going to look at this, right? Maybe they've got like a granddaughter who's had like a troubled moment in their teenage years where they've had to get some mental health help. He's got super sympathy for that kind of mindset, and he goes, "Do you know what? Let's get our parents in. Let's resolve this for it." I don't think that could happen, right? But they've if your kid goes missing, I'm pretty sure the first thing you're handing over as a parent is your DNA to the police.
I do anything. I do, and I would like come and get whatever you want. What do you need from me? What do you need from me?
This
What
is
questions do you want me to
they
answer?
just they just take it once, Paula, and then they make your DNA profile. Do you see what I'm saying? And then they can compare any sample against it. So it's not like the parents have to come and do a sample every time someone says I'm Madeleine McCann. But you would think that when somebody like Julia comes along and starts providing her own evidence. Now, I just want to say to everyone as well, every time Julia's provided, hang on a second, just give me 1 minute, Paul. I'll carry on with this, and I'll go back to the
Mhm.
DNA
Well,
proof. And
guys, it's like, for example, when they were talking about how they apparently Madeleine McCann had woken up other nights, right? And she had wandered off. Like, for me, I wouldn't have thought, oh, they've taken her. That's the first thing that she thought, they've taken her. Rather than go look, because if she had wandered off before, because the neighbors have said that she had wandered off before, and even the McCanns admitted that she had woken up the night before or a couple of nights before looking for them and crying and saying, where did you guys leave, and blah blah blah, right? So my first thing, it would be to look. I would have thought, oh, maybe she wandered off. I would look down and walk and look at the street. By her framing her
Hello?
as a kidnapping, she basically stopped the police from considering them as suspects, and the police had to take other measures. And then they had all their friends come over rather than preserve the crime scene. So, you know what I mean? When they said they've taken her and they were like, they've kidnapped my daughter, the police assumed that they had kidnapped the daughter. So they didn't treat the and it was, everything was contaminated. They did everything that they could to contaminate that crime scene. They didn't follow anything. They misled the police. Why would she think that the kid would be taken? It could have wandered the street. It happens. It happened to me with my sister. She woke up, I remember, one day, and she was like 2 years old, and we were looking, my dad and I were looking like crazy, and Robin had gotten somehow, and she was under the car, and we were about to get in the car and drive looking for her. And it's a